Hello mga ka-research chika! Narito na naman tayo para sa isang bagong video na makakatulong sa atin para mas maintindihan natin ang research. To be specific, quantitative research. In our previous video, we talked about quantitative research and its different types. And now, in this video, tatalakayin naman natin ang variables and its type. Ano nga ba ang variables? Ano nga ba ang iba't ibang uri ng mga variables? Yan ang ating pag-uusapan ngayon. To start with, let us first define variable. In research, variables used as an essential concept to examine or measure an aspect in a study. It is something, characteristics, or condition na pwedeng manipulahin, baguhin, or pag-aralan ng isang researcher. Researchers use variables to describe or manipulate time, places, people, or condition in a study or in a research. There are many types of variable. That is why napaka-importante bilang researcher na alam mo kung anong klaseng variable ang pag-aaralan mo sa iyong study para makapagbigay ka ng accurate na statistical analysis sa iyong mga mambabasa. Basically, there are two major types of variable, the independent and dependent variable. Let us discuss them one by one. First, let us discuss independent variable. Independent variable, it is the variable that is being examined or explained in a study. It is the one that cause something to another variable. Next is the dependent variable. Dependent variable is the variable that is being linked or measured in the independent variable. Dependent variable is the effect or the result of the manipulation of the independent variable in the study. For example, if a researcher wants to determine the effect of the attendance of the students on its grade. Sa study na to, maaaring sabihin natin na ang attendance ng estudyante ay ang independent variable at ang dependent variable naman ay ang kanyang grade. Dahil ang grade ng estudyante ay nakadepende sa attendance niya. Kaya masasabi natin na ang independent variable natin sa pag-aaral na to ay ang kanyang attendance. Aside from independent and dependent variable, we still have another types of variable. We have the controlled variable, the composite variable, the extraneous variable, the moderating variable, the intervening variable, and the confounding variable. Let us also discuss them one by one in order for us to have an idea what are the meaning of these other variables and how they can be used in our research paper. Let us start with controlled variable. Controlled variables is intentionally kept constant or controlled in a study. Its purpose is to eliminate or minimize the potential influence of other factors that could affect the dependent variable. By keeping certain variables constant, researchers can isolate and attribute any changes in the dependent variable, specifically to the manipulation of the independent variable. Halimbawa na lamang ng controlled variables ay kung gustong pag-aralan ng researcher yung paglaki ng isang halaman gamit ang isang UV light. Gagamit ang researcher ng UV light as an independent variable and the growth of the plant as the dependent variable. Magiging controlled variables natin dito ay ang paggamit ng tubig, fertilizer ng researcher para mapanatili nating nabubuhay ang halaman. So masasabi natin dito na ang fertilizer at ang tubig ay ang controlled variables kasi kailangan naman talaga ng halaman ng fertilizer and tubig. Ang UV lights ay magiging independent variables kasi ginagamit natin ito bilang isang panibagong kagamitan sa pagtutubo or pagtatanim ng halaman na gagamitin natin para masukat kung ang UV light ba nito ay may epekto sa paglaki ng halaman liban sa paggamit ng fertilizer at tubig. Next one is the composite variable. Composite variable, it is the use of two or combining two variables to make a more complex variable. For example, overall health is an example of composite variable. If a researcher uses other variables such as genetics, medical care, education, quality of environment, and chosen behaviors to determine the overall health is in an experiment. Next type of variable is the intervening variables. Intervening variables, it is a variable that used to connect or to explain another variables to another variables of a study. For example, access to healthcare. If wealth is the independent variable and a long lifespan is a dependent variable, a researcher might hypothesize that access to quality healthcare is the intervening variable that links wealth and lifespan. An intervening variable is also called as mediating or mediator, which explains the connection of one variable to another variable in a study. Next is the moderating variable. Moderating variables used to change the relationship or link of the independent and dependent variables in a study by strengthening or weakening the effects of the intervening variables to the other variable. For example, the age. If a study looking at the relationship between economic status, which is an independent variable, and how frequently people get physical exams from a doctor, which is a dependent variable, age is a moderating variable. That relationship might weaken for younger individuals and stronger in older individuals. Remember, moderating or moderator variable affects the strength and weakness or direction of the relationship between the dependent and independent variable. Next type of variables is the extraneous variables. Extraneous variables is a type of variables that exist in a study but not originally intended to be included in the study by the researcher. For example, if a researcher wants to examine the growth of a plant using UV light, the UV light is the independent variable and the growth of the plant is the dependent variable. What are the possible extraneous variables in this study? It might include the type of soil, the watering of the plant, the pest, and the weather condition. This extraneous variable can affect or might affect the growth of the plant. An extraneous variable is anything that could influence the dependent variable. These unwanted variables can unintentionally change a study's result or how a researcher interprets those results. The last type of variable is the confounding variable. These confounding variables is not also part of the study or did not account by the researchers to be included in the study but might affect the result of the research. For example, in a study of whether a particular genre of movie affects how much candy kids eat, when experiments are held at 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. Time could be a confounding variable, as the group in the noon study might be hungrier and therefore eat more candy because lunchtime is typically at noon. A confounding variable influences the dependent variable and also correlates with or causally affect the independent variable. Confounding variable can invalidate your experiment result by making them biased or suggesting a relationship between variables exists when it does not. As a conclusion, understanding or having a strong understanding about variables might give you a meaningful and a good research study. These variables will help you to understand the flow of your study, what to be studied, what is the cause, what is the effect, and what are the extra variables that also present in your study. Tandaan natin sa paggawa ng research, mahalaga na alam natin kung ano ang mga variables natin para alam natin kung ano ba yung mga sinusukat natin, ano ba yung mga dinidescribe natin para makapagbigay tayo ng mas accurate at precise na report sa ating mga mambabasa. As you continue your journey in your research, don't forget the importance of variables, their role, and how they can be used in your research paper because those variables will help you for you to have a good research paper. Thank you for listening. Sa ating susunod na video, tuturuan ko naman kayo kung paano tayo mag-isip ng magandang research topic para naman tayo ay magkaroon ng maganda presentation sa ating mga guro at para mapabilib natin sila sa mga research topic na ating ipipresent sa kanila. To get updated, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and click the notification button. If you have comments and suggestions, you are free to write your comments on the comment section below. Again, maraming salamat sa pakikinig and let's have another research chika with Teacher Chris.